Welcome, this is Julian from Luminatic.com, and today I'm having another image critique. And today's images are from Stefan van der Wijst. Stefan is from the Netherlands, as you might have heard by the name, and he submitted images of his Kawasaki Ninja sports bikes. He rides a 600cc Kawasaki Ninja. I love sports bikes, so it's an extra big pleasure to critique your images today. So let's start with the first one. This one is his bike shot against a graffiti wall. It was shot in available light against the setting sun. You can tell this by the large shadows here, the long shadows. And what I notice is that you chose to shoot at a very wide open aperture. It's at 1.8, which is absolutely large aperture. And large aperture means that you have a very shallow depth of field. You can tell if you look at the floor here that the depth of field is very, very shallow, only this part here, and the bike is standing here, so this part here of the bike is sharp, the rest is not sharp. I personally would have chosen perhaps a little, to close the aperture a little more so that more of the bike is sharp back to front, because here you want to show this is my bike, look at all the details, and then the details need to be sharp. I think with f4 or f5.6 you might have been able to show the bike very sharply with the background still being blurry. The very wide open aperture also results in these lines here, and I think these are marks in the wall where the concrete segments meet. So this is, I think, an indentation in the concrete, something like that. And the very soft bokeh of this lens, bokeh means the form of the blurry parts in the background, things that are out of focus. What shape do they have? Are they very soft? And this lens has a very nice bokeh. It's a very soft bokeh. And this makes these lines look a little strange. Actually, when I looked at the image at first, I thought, this is an artifact or something like that. But then I realized, it belongs to the wall. So perhaps this could have been photoshopped away. Apart from that, very nice bike, very nice image. Here we have a detail shot, and what I noticed is also you used a very wide open aperture, again 2.5. And you already noticed that you have to close the aperture a little, but again here you should have closed it a little more, because the detail you wanted to emphasize in this shot is the decal of the bike, and with the ZX-6R showing, and which is the model type of the bike, of course, and this should be in focus then. So again here f4, 5.6, something like that, would have given you a sharp section here, with the rest still being quite in focus. If you want to have it absolutely out of focus and this one sharp, then you can also take two shots and do focus stacking. So you take one shot with this here, the aperture closed, so that that's not really focus stacking, it would be called aperture stacking or something like that. You take one shot with the aperture closed and this one here being light, being in focus, and then you take one shot with everything being blurry, and you can layer those two. This one is great and over challenging. So there's so much going on in this image, I don't know where to start. There are so many elements. First, and the bike gets a little bit lost, so let's analyze. We've got the bike in the sunlight. You've got this superb shadow here. You've got the reflection of the bike in the pool. You've got the reflection of the shadow, and the wheels get complemented by the reflection, and there's the graffiti, and wow, this is just so much. So while this is really a wild image with so much going on, it over challenges the viewer, because as I just noticed, you've seen this green graffiti here, this arrow. This one is pointing at the bike, and the reflection is also pointing at the bike. So there's so much going on. I think if this was shot with a clean wall, this would be absolutely more less cluttered, if that's the word. Actually, it's a very nice example of an image, because I've never seen a motorcycle image that has so many compositorial elements, and again for the third time, I think it's a little bit over challenging. So you've seen so many things. You've seen the shadow, the reflections, and the graffiti, and so on, and the nice light in the evening, and you combined everything in one image, which is a unbelievable feat. But it's just a little bit too much. It's wonderful as it is, but a little bit too much for my taste. Yeah, this one is a strong contrast to the one before. Here we've got these strong popping colors and it just screams at you. And here it's more solemn. So very nice location. The background here, the wall is nearly devoid of any imperfections. So there are these whiter lines. This might have been residue of some graffiti, I don't know. And this one is really calm, serene. You've got the bike standing here with the lights being on. This is a very good thing you did, because this gives the bike some more light. The green is in the center of the image, and it's really calm with a very nice sunlight here, very hazy. Actually, I don't know what this is here in the background, but it doesn't matter. This one is wonderful. This could also be in a motorcycle ad, because it shows power. The bike itself shows, yes, I'm powerful and I'm waiting to go. But again, the evening and the light, so it makes it a very serene and calm situation. Nice job. This one is a kind of a side portrait. The bike is not really shown from the side 90 degrees, but a little bit tilted. The EXIF data is not present. For some reason, there should be the EXIF data here with the aperture, lens, and shutter speed, focal length and shutter speed, but it's not for some reason. And bike is in the center of attention, yes. What could have been done better? This part here, this is from a forklift or something like that. This looks like a cage where you can go in and then hoist yourself up to do work at an altitude. And either this machine should be included in the composition completely or more of it, or just leave it out. But showing just the cage is distracting, and this just doesn't belong here. But apart from that, good photographic job. Depth of field is well chosen. Nearly everything is in focus. Yeah, bike is standing well in the focal depth of field here. So well done. Very nice image. Yeah. Autumn colors. There's a second image like this at the end of this series, and it's shot in an avenue with the trees and the sunlight, the evening light coming from the side. Yeah, that's well done. So here the front of the bike is sharp and the back of the bike is out of focus. But here this fits very well, because the center of the front of the bike is the center of attention. This is where you look at. And it's also because and the rear is a little bit more hidden. Now if I'm switching back, where was it? Yeah, this one here. I think here it would be better, because you see a lot of the back, because the bike is not that steeply angled towards the camera, so you should be able to see this in focus. But here it's a very well chosen aperture, because it reduces the image to look at the front of the bike, and well, nicely done. The reflections here, which come where the light is coming through the trees and the branches, this is unavoidable if you shoot in such situations under trees against the sky. But the only way to avoid this is to remove the reflections in post. But again, then I would think it might look a little bit unnatural, because this is what you'd expect. You know, if there's trees around, the reflections will be here. And one thing that could have been done is to make the headlights on, both headlights on. The engine must be running, because usually you have to have high beam on. Most motorcycles have low beam in one side of the headlight, and the other headlight is for high beam. I have no idea why the producers did it that way. Perhaps it's cost saving, I don't know, or space saving, whatever. But both lights should be on to give the bike a little bit more life. Yeah. Light painting. Light painting is a method where you put the camera on a tripod, then you illuminate the bike either with a flash or with another light source from different angles. and you layer these images in Photoshop, and you take the lighted parts from different images and combine them to form the final image. And this is why it's called light painting. You can take certain areas that are lighted and combine them with others and thus create the complete image. I know from a chat I did with Stefan that he uses naked softboxes, so he does not use modifiers because he shoots alone. He takes his backpack with the camera and the flash, rides to a certain location, and on a sports bike you don't take a big backpack, so he only has a very small amount of gear with him. And so he shoots without light modifiers, and this can be seen because the light is quite harsh. And although, actually, on second thought, this might also have been with a light modifier. This looks quite big. So I'm not so sure. So disregard everything I said. It's cool. The lighting is cool. You accentuated the logo here, Kawasaki, the name, the Granny Smith. I like the humorous touch of your bike, that because it's the same color as the apple, to call it Granny Smith. So this is very cool. And I think the mirror here could have used some more light from above. So take the take the flash and do an image to exposure with light from above, because this would also accentuate here the rim of the windshield. The reflection here in the headlight is quite unpleasing because it's out of shape, and this part here is black. So the headlight could have been or should have been accentuated a little more, because this is, again, the headlights are the eyes of a bike, and here the eyes are dark. It's a little bit dead. So, but again, the bike is lighted well, and light painting is quite challenging. You need a lot of experience, and Stefan does a great job in lighting the bike like this. Last detail, if you've got raindrops here, because you drove through rain, there's some rain here, either wipe them away completely or have the bike being completely covered in rain so that it's part of the image. But this looks like, I just forgot or oversaw to wipe it away. These are just elements which don't belong here in this shot, so they should be removed, same as the marks here on the tire. Granny Smith, full frontal view. Again, I like the humorous touch because in this crop and in this frame, the bike's front nearly has an apple form. If you've got a little bit of imagination, this might be the shape of an apple. You've got the crazy eyes. Oops, what did I do? The crazy eyes here, and some more light on the mirrors would have been good, because you only see something here, but the eye you can't see the shape of the mirrors at first. So light from straight above should be good, would have been good. And the headlights need to be on. In this shot, you're looking the bike directly in the eyes, so the headlights need more light. They don't need to be switched on necessarily. You can also take a flash or something like that. And here I have to make a break. I'm back. There was somebody at the door and I had to answer. Where was I? Granny Smith, yeah. The bike should use some more light here in the headlights. These eyes in brackets need to be more alive. It's just too dark. More light here. But again, nice portrait. I like the shape, and good job. This one is my absolute favorite from the series. You really need a good eye to make such an image. I like the geometry here. You've got the straight lines here, you've got the curve, and the image is nicely intersected and divided by these elements here. The bike is far in the distance and only a small part of the image, but yet it's in the center of attention because it's the only really bright colored spot here. So the attention instantly goes to the bike because nobody looks at the dark stairs or at the roof, but the focus is immediately going on the bike. So this is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well spotted location. Again, you need a good eye to see this and to envision this as an image. So well done. Very small detail. If I'm really being picky, this piece of, don't know, garbage or something like that here, the small white thing, this should be edited out. But apart from that, absolutely superb. This one is also an interesting shot because it's in portrait mode. Most images of motorcycles are in landscape mode because a bike is usually broader than higher when seen from the side. And here you see it's steeply, nearly from the front, like at an angle of perhaps 30 degrees. And so the bike is very shallow. It's not shallow, it's not that broad in the image. So it's only from here to here and quite high compared to its broadness here. And the rest of the image is just the environment. So usually the problem with such images is that the space above the bike is boring. It's sky or trees or something like that, and it really doesn't work. But here it's something different. You've got, again, very well spotted, Stefan. You've got the concrete wall here, which divides the images here in the middle. This is a very nice composition. So you've got straight lines, you've got the curve here, so the same element as on the shot before, and the bike is here in the center of attention. Also, I like the edit because the top looks a little bit more, how do I say it, a little bit more sharper, or not sharper, the colors are stronger, and here the colors are a little flatter, so it looks like if you have put a gradient filter on it, that the colors are very strong and clear here and get a little bit flatter here. This is a very cool edit, so I like it a lot. This one comes in two different versions. You have this one and this one. It's light painted again, so camera on the tripod and then take a flash and illuminate it from different sides. This one here, I like the compositorial element of framing, so not in a criminal way, but in a photographic way. So you've got the steel columns here, and you've got this horizontal column, and this creates a frame for the bike. So the bike stands here and is framed by these steel girders, and this is very well. Headlight could be on, rear light could be on to make it a little bit more lively. And here I think a softbox would have been good. I'm pretty sure that this one was shot without a softbox. So the light could be a little bit less harsh. If you want to get to absolute perfection, then you could have make this area a little darker, because here this is very dark and here you've got some light, so this could have been a little bit darker, although it's not that bad. It doesn't really impact the image in a negative way. Well, yeah, headlights are already mentioned. Yeah, good job. The other one is also an edit I like a lot. If I switch back and forth, you see that he used different exposures, because if you look at the brake disc here, these are different images which were layered together. Also here the reflection on the, what is it called? The fork, the swing. Here you've got a nice reflection, and here it's darker. And also the colors are flatter here, so it's another edit. Also the contrast with red light is brilliant, so you've got the strong red color, the strong green color, which go together very well. And I like both images. So this is a very clear one, nearly monochromatic environment, and this one being a little bit flatter from the colors, which gives it a I like the vocabulary, a grungy look, I don't know. So it's both very, very finely and well-made images. So this is really high quality. First image with a person in it. As I said, I already chatted with Stefan a little bit in the past, and we exchanged some opinions, and I once told him, hey, you could, for example, try this one here with a person on the stairs. The image is perfect without a person, but just try it with perhaps you standing on the stairs looking at the bike, or just looking at the camera, and this would also, then you can play a little bit around and learn what effects it has if a person is in the image. And here he included himself in the image. Again, Stefan's shooting alone, so he takes his bike, rides out, and takes the images. And it's a super hard job. I can tell that from my own experience. It's a super hard job to be the rider, to be the photographer, and to be the model. Those are 3 jobs you have to tackle. And it's very hard to get good results with that. And here he did, again, wonderful results. The bike is very well lighted. This is really very good lighting on the bike. I especially like the fact that you did a colored gel on the flash. It's a colored foil you put on the flash to make the flash not go in white light, but in red, green, blue, whatever light, so that you have here some accentuated in colors. I like in the way you included yourself in the shot with the helmet on and so on. And there are only 3, and you've got the headlights on. Yay! That's great. There are only 3 minor details. First, when I first looked at the image, this light part here, where the light from the flash, which is coming from this side, hits the wall, and this is your shadow. When you look at the image, the first part the image sees are the eye sees are the light parts, and you see this shape, and you try to decipher what kind of shape this is. And this is a little bit hard because it's distracting, and thus I just Photoshop these away and make these areas dark. Then there is less attention going to the right side of the image. I don't know if this was on purpose, if you framed it that way. This graffiti in the background says KIA, which is the military slang for killed in action, which is a little bit macabre in the bike context. I don't know if this was done on purpose, so if yes, there's a message behind it. You could interpret it like, yeah, drive safely. But just to make you aware that this might also be interpreted as a message. And the last small detail, when shooting this, something like this, you obviously drove through rain. You see the spots of the dried raindrops here on the helmet, and this makes the helmet look a little smudgy and not nice, so to wipe it down with a cloth before shooting. But these are the details. As I said, when you've got 3 jobs in one, you can't tackle everything, and it's just something to learn for the next shoot, and the image is perfect as it is. It's really great. Last one from the series, then I'm done. Again, shot in the autumn foliage in the avenue with the trees lining the sides. And I think I've already said everything on the first image. This one here is the focus and the depth of field is perfectly chosen, so the bike is sharp from back to front, yet the rest, you see very shallow depth of field. The bike stands exactly where it should stand, and everything is sharp, and the rest is out of focus, which is very pleasing bokeh of the lens. So the small light spots here make a very nice round circle. This is what is bokeh means, the form of the out of focus light points. And only one very small detail. There is a leaf or a small twig sticking out here from the ground. You shot from a very low perspective, also very good choice to show a lot of the trees. And but there was something in the way which is intersecting here with the bike. I think if you'd Photoshop this small portion away, then everything would be perfect. So that concludes the image critique for today. Thank you very much, Stefan, for letting me review and critique your images. It always takes some courage to give your own images to somebody else and letting him ramble about your own work. So thank you very much for your trust, and I hope I could help you with something I've said, and I'd love to see more of your images in the future. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to also have your images being critiqued, then just send me an email, send me a link, or send me the images or whatever, and I will do a screencast like this with your images. Thank you very much. That's it for today, and see you soon. Bye.